With a star set to leave WWE and more, this is Wrestling Rambles. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we move on, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Rambles with notifications on, and don't forget to like the video. Recalling their stint on NXT, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson of the OC said this on Talkin' Shop. "Our time in NXT was great. I wish we would have spent more time in NXT earlier when we came back to WWE just a little bit. We could have worked closer with Triple H," said Anderson. Gallows added, "That would have been a good thing, just to form the bond a little bit more. Him getting to know us as people and our passion would be a good thing." Anderson concluded by saying, "You can say what you want about us. Just know that as people, we are passionate about professional wrestling and doing what we do." While he was in a skybox on Raw last night, CM Punk noticed a funny fan sign. Noting his perspective on AEW, undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes said this to Cheap Heat. "The narrative changed a lot about my contributions to AEW. That was very disappointing. There were some people, I'm not going to say their names, they know who they were, who kind of tried to put some propaganda out when I left. There's a quote in the Young Bucks book about how I was last to the signing. Me, Matt, and Nick are as close as ever. So glad I had them in my career and my life. If we are being honest, AEW does not happen without me. It doesn't. With that in mind, I could never root against them. It's like having a kid and they go off to college and they get a DUI or they get in trouble. I'll always have that in my heart for them. It was certainly a wound that is more gaping and painful than people realize because now they look at the situation, oh man, you're on top of the world, you have everything. They don't understand that I really gave everything I could. I did. I could never see a day where I was rooting against them. From a completely outside of me perspective, my relationship to AEW, my friends, the kids I signed, and the people from my school, from outside of that, it's very important that they hang in there because if that were to go away, I don't think anybody in the locker room has any clue of the financial repercussions that would have on the wrestling business, the trickle-down effect that would have on independent wrestling. We've created a really comfortable environment in sports entertainment for men and women to feed their families and to do well and be treated on a level that their global penetration asked for. I would hate to see that bubble burst. That's a random fear I have when they're down or if they're up or whatever it may be. I would never root against them in any case. That's not always easy because random things said about you at press conferences, and that's a big no-no. You should never say me or my wife's name. Tony Khan should have told you that. I'll never root against them. I really won't." During that same interview, Cody Rhodes had this to say about his career aspirations. "I would like to be the most profitable talent that WWE has ever had, and I know who hangs in that group. I would like to give WWE everything I possibly have." Giving details on a relationship with fellow WWE star Ludwig Kaiser, Tiffany Stratton told Chris Van Vliet on Insight, "We've actually been dating for, it's going to be 2 years in May. We kind of always knew of each other because we both were at the Performance Center. One day he was out and it was my birthday weekend and I was out. We actually played rock, paper, scissors and the loser had to ask the person on the date. So he lost and he had to ask me on the date." Stratton also said this about her transition from NXT to the main roster as she is now a part of SmackDown. So I guess I kind of debuted at the Rumble. I didn't really know that I was making my debut on the main roster. I had the Rumble. Then that Tuesday, I was kind of waiting to hear if I was going to be on NXT that night, and I wasn't. So I asked them, am I getting called up? They're like, oh, we're not sure. Then I get a text saying that I have travel for SmackDown. Then I asked, am I called up? They're like, we're not sure. Then Friday, I got the confirmation that I was being called up, and then I had my in-ring debut, and the rest is history. In a video, Dijak can be seen being drafted from NXT to Raw.
WWE Draft. Monday Night Raw selects Dijak.
When talking about her time in WWE as a backstage interviewer, which came to an end in December, Mackenzie Mitchell said this in response to the idea of an in-ring career, telling Muscle Man Malcolm, I get this question all the time, and you know what, truth be told, when I was at rehearsals the other day for the last match, I actually thought, you know what if I just take a bump? What if I just go ahead and do a few, just see if I can get in the ring and then put it on social media and see what people have to say about it. I don't know, I just don't think that's for me. I'm a better talker than wrestler, I think so. A new docuseries from 7 Bucks Productions and Dark Side of the Ring will premiere on June 4th for Vice TV, as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson said this about it. The iconic rise and fall of WCW is one of professional wrestling's most captivating stories, full of big dreams, massive successes, painful failures, and the harsh realities of the pro wrestling business. With wrestling viewership and fan engagement at an ultimate high, there has never been a more perfect time to tell top quality wrestling stories, and there's no better one to start with than a one-of-a-kind behind-the-scenes look at this epic saga known as The Rise and Fall of WCW, and personally, the rise of WCW, not the fall, inspired me greatly early in my career, where I would eventually become the final boss. Garcia added, diving into the saga of WCW is not just another project for us. It is an opportunity to highlight our talents as documentary storytellers in a world where we have historical credibility and knowledge, professional wrestling. This project allows us to build a bridge between the passionate global wrestling audience and those curious about an often misunderstood industry, strengthened by our partnership with a dedicated storyteller in Vice TV. As she has recently appeared for TNA Wrestling, Steph said this regarding her contract status with the promotion, telling Fightful, I am still a free agent. Yes, yeah, it definitely suits me right now to be independent, but I guess we'll see how everything unfolds. I'm not against signing anywhere, it's just, as Matt Cardona says, the money has to be right, and it has to align with what I want to do. So yeah, we'll see what happens over the next 6 months or so, but for now, I'm still a free agent, which is an exciting place to be. I worked for them last year at the very start of last year and kind of just dipped my toes in, did one loop. So I met everyone then and created those connections, but obviously now, with Scott D'Amore not being there, it's slightly different and the people you speak to are different, but in my case, pre-Matt's injury, all of my stuff was including Matt, so I went through him. Matt just messaged me and was like, hey, TNA want to use us for XYZ. What do you think? We spoke about it and he dealt with the logistics of that. Now that things have changed and Matt is hurt, and obviously since being there on the weekend for me now is more of a direct line. But at the start it was Matt coming to me with the idea. He had spoken to them and then going from there. So I will be there in Albany for Under Siege and also a TV taping. From there it's kind of let's see what happens. The other thing too, honestly, with all this kind of stuff, it comes down to availability, and Matt and I have a very full calendar. So yeah, it's what works for me, what works for them, and hopefully we can come up with something great. It appears as though an NXT star will no longer be with WWE soon, as it was reported that Fightful Select has learned that Scripps, formerly known as Reggie, contract is set to expire at the start of June. He's been informed that the deal will be expiring and he will be a free agent. Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp has learned that Scripps, who will likely go by Sidney Akeem, plans to continue wrestling and expected his deal to not be renewed. Speaking about his recovery from a broken foot and a return to AEW, Darby Allin, who was recently hit by a bus, told the Dally Mig show, "Unfortunately, my foot won't be healed until around June, so if I do show up, it'll be with a broken face and foot waving to the crowd," which might not be the worst thing. I'll have to wait and see. Training in Everett, Washington, it would be a sort of ultimate homecoming. May 15th, I'll see. I think I might be able to make it as long as there are no buses. I'm good. I was pumped, ready to conquer Everest. Then 2 weeks before my departure, I broke my foot during the match. Wrestling with a broken foot for 13 minutes was tough. It was a painful experience. Now I'm recovering from foot surgery with 3 metal plates. He also explained the incident with getting hit by a bus. So I was hanging out with Raymond Pettibon, which if anybody knows who Raymond is, he's one of the godfathers of punk rock art. He created the Black Flag logo and he's done so much work for Red Hot Chili Peppers, Sonic Youth, Iggy Pop. He's really big in the art world. He's an older guy. He's like 64. He can't walk that well, so we're in New York hanging out. And he's jaywalking, and I see this bus. It's taking a right turn. I was like, there's no way they're going to see Raymond at night walking. Like I said, he can't walk that good. So as I'm pushing him, like, hurry up, there's a bus coming. And then as the bus was taking a right, it wasn't going fast. It might have been going 8 to 10 miles per hour. So it wasn't like 30 miles an hour. But as I was pushing him out of the way, the side of the bus window, my face bounced off of it. So you could say I saved Raymond Pettibon. Mig says he took a bus for him, did take a bus for him. I didn't take a bullet, but I took a bus. Asked if he sought medical attention after the incident, Allin said no, not right then and there. I got checked out later and definitely the nose is broken. Everybody was like, yo, is everything else good? I'm like, the only thing that got broken in the accident is my nose and my dignity. So I'm in bed right now. I'm here with a broken face and a broken foot. I can't really breathe. I'm sitting here with a nose bandage on. My nose is completely numb, but I will live. I feel like I've been through worse. On SmackDown, Adam Pearce would let fans know that he planned to pay tribute to a former pro wrestling manager. Writing before the show, tonight's sport coat is in honor of your friend and mine, Mr. Jim Cornette. Apparently fans were not happy about this as Pearce responded to the outrage. One person decided to buy a horrible red jacket to wear for fun and quote, "sweet Stan" in a tweet referring to it. Another person decided that it must mean solidarity with bigotry among other terrible things. Why do I block people online? Same reason I flush the pot. Touch grass. With Goldberg recently claiming that AEW was too cheesy for him to join the promotion, president of the company Tony Khan told Josh Martinez on Superstar Crossover Bill wanted to work here. I met with Bill several times. Bill was looking to work here. It's funny because I had a bunch of really nice meetings with Bill and would have honestly been interested in doing something. I have a lot of respect for Bill. I was surprised by that because that certainly wasn't what he said said to me when he was talking to me about working here at some point, which I've always been open to, and I really like Bill. It's all about timing, and we're doing a lot of exciting things right now. Sting just finished up and went out on his own terms doing things he liked and felt strongly about. I know Sting and Bill are good friends. I really like Bill and have respect for him. When I saw that, Bill has talked to me about working here, so I don't think he had any problem with any of that content, and anyone who saw Sting's send-off has had positive things to say. I'm not sure what that was about, but I do respect Bill and I like him very much. I wish him the best and God bless him. He's a great name in wrestling. I love what we do in AEW and he's entitled to his opinions. Certainly, when I talked to him in person several times, in person and in Zoom and phone calls, we've had very nice conversations, and he hasn't said that. It's good to know that's how he feels, and maybe that's an opinion he holds now, but certainly in our past conversations, he's always been a positive and nice guy. In that same interview, Tony Khan would address rumors of a star signing with the promotion, as Ringside News wrote that earlier this week, reports surfaced that former NWA Women's World Champion Kamille has inked a deal with AEW earlier this year, but is yet to make her debut. During an interview with Josh Martinez on New York's Z100, Khan was asked to address the swirling rumors. He responded, "I think Kamille is a great wrestler. We followed her very closely. She's worked with a lot of the top AEW talent. As for her status, I can't comment on that, but I think she's a tremendous talent and she would be an asset to any wrestling company for sure, including AEW." When asked to name the best wrestler on the planet today, Khan stated, "If I may choose from the men's and the women's division, I would say Swerve Strickland, the AEW World Champion, and Timeless Toni Storm, the AEW Women's World Champion. They hold the world titles. There are a lot of world titles I think the world of, like so many great champions." He also mentioned Kazuchika Okada, Roderick Strong, Adam Copeland, Jon Moxley, and Bryan Danielson as other formidable wrestlers, but highlighted Strickland and Storm for now. Recently, Becky Lynch appeared on the show and posed a question for Khan to answer. Lynch asked, "What do you want the audience to know about you?" To which Khan responded, "I would love for people to know that I love pro wrestling in AEW on TBS and TNT every week is a dream come true, and every Wednesday night when we put on AEW on TBS and every Friday and Saturday on TNT, this is fulfilling a lifelong dream. Dynamite is a show that I've been writing since I was 12 years old in notebooks and always wanted to bring to people." Khan elaborated on his goal to deliver memorable moments to fans and ensuring Sting receives the best send-off possible. Additionally, Khan discussed AEW Dynamite and the Forbidden Door. He described the Forbidden Door as the ideal event to bring to New York City. The show is scheduled to take place at the UBS Arena in Long Island. As Cody Rhodes seemingly hurt his shoulder during a match on SmackDown against Carmelo Hayes, an update on the American Nightmare was provided by Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez on Wrestling Observer Radio. Yesterday in the show, we were talking about the SmackDown spot where Cody and Carmelo did double dives. Both missed each other, crashed, and burned. Cody was grabbing his shoulder, and Cody was not listed as injured. He's not listed as injured. They never mentioned it on TV, so it's not a worked injury either. It's not like some storyline because it was never mentioned. I would think that if there's the main event on the pay-per-view, I would think that if they were doing a storyline and mentioned it when they showed all kinds of clips from SmackDown, they never addressed it. So I would say that if it was going to be addressed as a storyline, it would have been addressed as far as the pay-per-view main event. It had been addressed tonight. So I don't think it's being addressed. The injury. I was told that it is not listed as an injury, a real injury, so whatever it was, it might be just something. It might be something minor. It might be nothing at all. It's probably nothing at all significant. In some unfortunate news, an independent wrestler has passed away, as Ringside News wrote that the pro wrestling world is an unpredictable place, as the past year has seen many unfortunate passings. Sadly, it appears the wrestling community is mourning the untimely loss of independent wrestler Billy Reil, who passed away at the age of 44. News of Reil's passing was confirmed by PW Insider following notification from his family on April 29th. Reil had been battling numerous health issues leading up to his death. PWInsider.com is sad to report the passing of former independent wrestling star Billy Reil. Reil's family announced his passing earlier today. He was only 44 years old and had been dealing with a lot of health issues in the last year. Billy Reil was born and raised in South Philadelphia and drew his inspiration from attending WWF events at the Spectrum in the 1980s. As ECW gained popularity in Philadelphia, Reil frequently visited the ECW arena, where he connected with industry figures. He made his in-ring debut in 1995, competing in Jersey All Pro Wrestling and various independent promotions. Beyond his wrestling career, Reil was a classically trained actor, appearing in low-budget films like Purgatory and The Pit. He also gained recognition for his heroism in 2002 when the South Philly Review featured his act of bravery. Reil witnessed a man on rollerblades attempting to mug his 61-year-old neighbor. He sprang into action, tackled the assailant, and recovered the stolen purse. Billy Reil's passing is a significant loss to the wrestling world, remembered for his contributions to the independent circuit and his courageous actions outside the ring. His memory will be cherished by fans, fellow wrestlers, and those whose lives he touched through his talent, bravery, and dedication. Brett Lauderdale added, "Sorry to hear about the passing of Billy Reil. Unfortunately, I can't say I'm surprised. He was a funny guy and as South Philly as it gets. He was a childhood friend of Trent Acid and they broke into the biz together. Billy had potential at one time. A cautionary tale. Rest in peace, Billy." And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all later.